Hello, beautiful beings. Welcome to Module 3. We are going to dive into the concept of the fear of the unknown and fear in general. So, let's get into it. Fear is the very thing that runs the church. Fear allows for control and manipulation to occur so that people can do what is asked of them, even if they are against it or don't want to partake. The fear of losing God's love, the fear of the devil coming to get you, the fear of God striking you down right in that very moment that you do or say something that's against another person's will. It allows for a lot of control. And personally, fear was instilled deeply in me and conditioned in me to obey, be obedient, be respectful. Do not go against any word that I say, any word that I ask of you. You must do, no matter what, because I said so. That was the concept that I was brought up on. And it wasn't the whole, okay, I respect you so much that I'm going to listen and I'm going to obey you. It was a whole, I'm very scared of you. I fear you from the depth of my heart. And so I listen because I'm way too fearful of what can potentially happen to me if I don't listen to you. Now, how sad is that? That is, I still try to wrap my head around a human being learning that concept and still instilling that into their child and passing that on to the next generation. I just can't fathom. I can't fathom that. I guess, see, the kindness in me that recognizes why people do what they do and how and the reasons. I know why, but it's just still unfathomable that people can just be sheep and just follow because that's what they were taught. But I also don't want to discredit them because some people just don't have the capacity or capability to move beyond what they were taught and what was instilled in them and just be suffering and caught up in everything that they've experienced and what was done to them. So I do have grace for those people. But perpetuating that cycle is, to not question the cycle in general in the first place is, that's a concept that's beyond me because I question everything. I mean, at one point I didn't, but now in life is like, okay, I question everything. Like, is that really, and it's rightfully so, you shouldn't just blindly follow because you're scared of something. That's not going to get you anywhere. That's going to leave you in a deep unknowing and misunderstanding of yourself, of whatever you're following. And it's just not a journey to walk, honestly. But here I am, my generation that was still taught the fear of, taught and instilled in fear. But also there's the concept of the fear of the unknown. People fear what they don't know because they don't understand it, which is crazy because in my mind, I'm just like, oh, I don't know that. Let me find out. Let me get the knowledge. Let me understand. Let me figure this out. But for some people, that they don't have the capacity to do that. They don't have the capacity to like open themselves and be like, okay, I don't know this, so let me find out what it is. Because they look at it as, I don't know this. That's scary as fuck. So let me move away and like deny that thing, even tear it down or kill it, because it's a concept that I don't know and I don't want to understand because I don't know. It's easier to retreat back into self than to go out and explore an adventure and gain a new understanding, because retreating back is safe. Going out into the unknown is risky. And it feels almost unsafe. But now, for the juicy part, I had to lean in a little bit. This whole concept of the devil. I have for so long been trying to wrap my mind around it, because for so long I've been scared of the devil. I've been scared of this devil entity that is supposed to be here to kill, steal, and destroy everyone's life. But all the things when I think about in the sign of when they were told to me that it was the devil and the devil is doing this, the devil is doing that. In reality, it was just lessons and concepts that were harsh and a little hard to learn, but people just didn't want to learn them. And so the devil became their scapegoat. The devil became this concept of understanding around the things that they didn't want to learn, the things that they didn't know. And so I'm not saying that the devil's a bad person. I don't even know if the devil really exists, honestly. And that's not something that I'm worried about, because it's not in my field. It's not in my journey. It's not something that I'm thinking about anymore. But for so long, I was scared of the devil and scared of him coming down and wreaking havoc in my life and him coming to bring all these moments to kill me and destroy me because he's so mad that God loves me. But when you really think about it, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. And I've had little experiences there, but I feel like those experiences were cultivated by the fear of the mind. Like my mind experienced those things because it was only like in the lens of like, okay, the devil does exist. And so my mind was feeding that concept, giving energy to that concept. Okay, that the devil is there. And so that cultivated my experience of experiencing the devil. But in reality, I never really experienced the devil. I had scary moments where I didn't understand what was going on. There was some lessons that I needed to learn, and I was like, okay, this is tough. But in reality and ultimately, when I really think back and like have sat and pondered with that concept, the devil has never really been there. And the devil was really used as a concept to get people to obey. That whole fear thing. The devil became the concept of fear to control and make people do what was asked of them. Because otherwise the devil's going to come and a demon's going to come possess you and take over your body. And all these bad things are going to happen to you. And the devil's going to try to kill you. And the devil's going to come and curse you. And this whole concept, you don't have to be scared of the devil. You don't have to be, you stump on the devil's head. I feel you. If you still believe in that, that's okay. There's no judgment here about believing in that, because it took me many years to let go of that concept, because I literally had a debilitating fear to where, like, if I experienced anything, I would be shaking. I wouldn't be able to sleep. I would stay up the whole night, all the lights on in the house, watching TV, because I couldn't sleep and I was too scared of the devil, a demon, something coming to kill, steal, and destroy me. But yet that concept was never, there was never any proof of that. And in hindsight, I now realize that it was controlling. It was there to make me fear so that I would do what was asked of me. So we're not using the devil as a scapegoat anymore. We are facing our problems head on. So, something that impacted me and changed my view of the whole devil concept was something that David Lyon told me. I was explaining to him how, like, I have this fear of the devil, and when I'm starting to try to connect psychically and, like, connect to the universe and open my channel and everything, I get, like, a lot of anxiety, and I get shaky, and I get very fearful and scared. And it's because the idea that I had is that, like, when I open myself up, that's gonna allow a demon to come in, which of course is the conditioning that religion teaches you, that if you open yourself up to you open yourself up in general, the devil's gonna, you're opening yourself to the devil pretty much, and that leaves space for possession and being used by the devil, yada yada. Even though I never experienced this, but whenever I was trying to connect, I can feel the energy, but I couldn't push through the fear that I had of being possessed. And so I was on a platform, and I brought the scenario up to David Lyon. If you don't know David Lyon, look him up. Very dope human being. Very dope. It'd be too much to explain how dope he is, but he's dope. Just look him up. You'll know. So he explained to me that the darkness, or the things that people see as the darkness or the devil, demon, all the stuff like that, it is just source energy, God's energy, just vibrating at a different level, at a different spectrum, with not as much light. And don't quote me on this, because I don't. I'm paraphrasing from what I remember. I'm just remembering the full concept, and that the darkness is still God's energy. It's still God's energy. It's just not vibrating at the highest level of love as other things. And so if you see it from the perspective of it's just vibrating at, it's still the same energy. It's still God's energy, just vibrating at a different level. You won't be so scared. There won't be so much fear there. And then he also brought in the concept of that energy is still just trying to find the light. And I think he uses scenarios that he was either dreaming or in a meditation, and he was in darkness, and he was the light, and he could see himself as a light, but he was in darkness. And in the darkness, he seen a bunch of crows, and the crows kept flying at him, but there was an energy field around him, and they kept hitting the energy field and falling off, but they kept trying trying to fly into his energy. And he said that it was an opportunity to expand your empathy, because the darkness is just trying to get into the light. And if you have the empathy of knowing, like, whatever darkness is there is just trying to get into the light, it's not this whole fearful concept. And I might not be explaining it in the best way, but it's just something that landed for me. And I was just like, okay, wow, like, even if I do see the concept as a demon or the devil, it's still God's energy. It's just at the lower spectrum of vibration. But in reality, it's still, although it's at that spectrum and lower level, it's still trying to move up into vibrating at the highest frequency of love. And so having empathy for that, and like, okay, like, I can handle something like that. But then also I could be of support in a way. That's just my idea. But just in general, it's just like, okay, like, if you understand the concept of that it's still God's energy, just at a different level, it's nothing to be scared of, because it's still God's energy. And because God loves you, because you're on your own path, you're on your own journey and things like that, those things are not going to affect you, because it's its own thing. So if you have that concept down, that's a good concept. There's also the flip side of that too, or another concept of perspective. If you are constantly feeling like you need to protect yourself, something's out to get you. The devil's out to get you. There's something that's going to happen to you or whatever. If you constantly view things in that perspective, then that's what's going to show up for you, because that's what you're giving energy to. So there are some spiritual people who say, like, you need to protect yourself. You always need to protect yourself, yada yada. And then there's other people who are just like, that's just not in my field of view. I've been in both places, and I can say that I do protection work when I feel called to do it. But then there's also, like, my spiritual team is always protecting me as well. And so if there is anything to be weary of or have a light on, my spiritual team is going to handle it, or they're going to let me know that what I need to do to handle it. But I've shifted out of the lens and perspective of seeing that, okay, someone's out to get me. There's always possibly a threat. Someone's going to do this or do that. I had to shift out of that perspective, because I was bringing that to myself, because that was the view and the vision and the lens that I had, not vision, but the lens that I had, the perspective that I had from being fearful. And that goes into trauma and conditioning as well. So if you just be you, be free, live in the vibration of love, God's love, and don't put in energy and time and perspective into something's out to get me, the devil's gonna do this and that. Well, we already destroyed the concept of the devil. The devil's not really. It's just a concept of fear mongering, pretty much. The scapegoat that is used to make people obey. Now, granted, there are some people who have their own definitive stories and things such like that, but just work through yourself and just consult yourself, consult your spiritual team, because the answers that you seek of like not understanding things or being scared of things, those answers lie within you. I want to quickly to also touch on fear of the unknown, when it comes to spirituality as well. When you're tapping in further and seeking manifestation and seeking like a depth of your being and your life and everything like that, that comes with stepping into the unknown, stepping into what you think might not, what you think is, you don't see it there, but you're stepping with faith into the unknown. So if you fear the unknown, that's going to hinder your process of stepping into the unknown. But we can't view the unknown as a bad thing, because it's not. It's honestly there to get our minds out the way. And it's also there to allow God to, in the universe, to work its magic, to do what it needs to do without the human mind limitations. So don't view the unknown as bad. Don't view the unknown as working against you. View it as something that you need to step into and surrender to so that you can expand. And so that leaves the journal prompts for this week. Oh, almost blew my light out. What is it that you fear the most? Sit with yourself about that question. And why? Why do you fear it so much? Bring light to what is hidden. Be truthful with yourself about what is really there, why you really fear that. Because if you bring light to fear when fear tries to be masked and hidden behind certain things, you will get to the root of why you even feel that way, why it's there, which will thus help you to conquer it, bring light to it, and be like, oh, that's what it is. That's what it is. That's what it is. So yeah, deep dive into that concept this week. Sit with it, marinate with it, consult your spirit about it. And I wish you the best. Good luck.